Oh, no way. I had him for
Those motherfuckers are professors,
then I
too.
left.
Man.
And then I called him one night at like 1 in the morning. And this is how quick it was. Like, I asked the bailiff to go on my paperwork and see who the attorney was on the case. And he came back and he gave me the guy's number. I called his number. It was an old school answering machine. Not the number, but if this is an emergency, call me at the home. I blasted that motherfucker at 2 in the morning. He was like, Joey Diaz, great to hear from you.
2 in the morning.
You still owe me $175 from the last case. What can I do for you? I go, remember that case? They just arrested me on a bond. Okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to put the bailiff on the phone, but when can you show up with $500 at my office? I'm going to get you out tonight, all right? But when can you? I mean, that's how good he was.
That's crazy.
Right, $500 the next day. I had to go borrow $315, take a bus to his fucking place, give him $500, but I'm out.
They're hustlers.
Your job is to stay out.
So let's say I'm a drug dealer, like a big drug dealer, and I have a bunch of money. If I get arrested, do I get to use that money to pay for a lawyer?
If whatever they don't get.
If they find that shit on you, they're confiscating that shit, taking it as evidence.
So let's say you have $500,000 at your mom's, $500,000 at your dad's, $200,000 at my house, and $200,000 at some restaurant. You know, some Mexicans that have a safe in the back. Yeah, because that's what you do after a while. After a while, you start making so much money, you don't want it on you, so you just go to your buddies and go, listen, what if I pay your rent for a year? You can put a safe in the wall. I don't want nobody in this fucking house, though. I don't want nobody in this fucking house. I got $500,000 there. I'm not going to give you the combination, and you ain't going to be able to get into it. But there's $500,000 in there. If this goes missing, I'm putting a bullet in your head. But until that time, to pay your rent for a year. What would you do, Lee?
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
A little scary with a bullet in the head, but it sounds like a good deal.
They put it in your restaurant.
As a Jew.
Let's say I got $2.5 million, and they take me for 1.5. I got $1 million, all right? So I call an attorney, blah, blah, blah. I have Rodrigo go pick up $500,000, bring it to the attorney in the morning. I'll be out by the afternoon, though. Raise bail and get me out of there. As soon as that
deposit's made, shit's cracking.
Right, now I got $500,000 to work with. I got material on the street, and I'm out. But I'm out. The 1.5 that the cops found in your house, you're never getting that back.
Yeah.
You might get back $2. You know,
especially when it comes to that high level shit or anybody, you don't want to be in that cage. And as good as your guy is, you know, that's why some motherfuckers never go to jail.
You pay to stay out of the cage, because no matter what, while I'm out, I'm making money. That's the most important.
Operation
thing.
Keeps rolling.
That's what's the most important thing, to keep my client out, to make him money. If he listens to what I have to tell him, I'll keep him out for years. I'll keep him out for fucking 18,000 fucking years. It's gonna cost him. It's gonna cost him. You know?
Yeah, but it is kind of fucked up about how. So like so many white, like not, but stereotypically white people.
You guys get pulled over tonight.
Yeah.
You get DUI. Some people can hire an attorney and pay $2,000 and get away with murder. I'm not saying murder, but they're gonna overlook a lot of things with an attorney that they're not gonna overlook with you by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a big decision to say, well, am I cheap? Because at the end, it's still gonna cost me. But you might get this reduced. You might do things you might not know. There's a program that you get your points.
If that guy's good, he'll be like,
yeah.
You said my client's eyes were blurry in the picture. You took a picture of him 3 hours later, 2 hours later, and his eyes were fucking blurry and shit. They weren't red. Shit hinges on that. You get your.
I'll tell you a very interesting story. I'll tell you that I've never told in the podcast. I got in trouble in Seattle, but I had been in trouble in. This is how sharp some people are, because this is all the law is you being sharp with your words. So I had gotten arrested in Colorado. I had done time. Okay. I had 2 felonies in Colorado. I got arrested in Seattle 5-6 years later. It was a felony. This attorney went in and convinced the DA to put me in this program where there's no jail time for an assault charge on the first felony. They dropped it down to nothing, harassment, and they threw it out and I didn't get a felony. She threw the paperwork in and she goes, they're going to catch it and I'm going to play stupid. I'm going to go, oh, I didn't know about his record. She ran it. They signed it.
The one in Denver?
Yeah, the DA never signed, looked at the paperwork. So this is what a sharp attorney does. Just little things like that. Little things like that they overlook. But she could have said, no, he's got a felony. I'll never get away with it. She didn't know, fuck it. Let me run it by her. See if she catches it. She's on her motherfucking toes. When she came to see me, I went to her office. She goes, I got you in that program. They never caught the felon. It's too late now. I paid that woman $1,200.
What happens if you skip bail?
Then you're done. You got a warrant.
Then a bail comes out to you in a warrant. But here's the worst thing about skipping bail. That now I can't get out. Now you're making it tougher to get out. All those years, me fucking around, the number one lesson a friend of mine told me was like, make all your court appearances.
They hate that shit. Failure to appear. They double that shit.
FTAs. Don't fuck with FTAs. Do not mess with failure to appear. If you got to be that 9, get there at 8:30.
And you know one of those motherfuckers just keep clogging up the system, making that shit slower. You know what I mean? Fucking with them so they get pissed. Don't fuck with the system.
I had an attorney one time.
In that sense.
I borrowed a friend's car. I must have been 18. And I did something. I got like a speeding ticket and something else. Driving in a zone or something. It was like a $600 ticket back then.
Fuck.
Damn.
It was something fucking
Cross over the double yellows and shit.
And I signed the ticket, and the guy impounded my friend's car, and I had to borrow $300 to get the car out. And, you know, I was embarrassed for a few days. And I had a court date, and I told my friend about it. He goes, bro, call my cousin. And I called his cousin, and I told the cousin the truth. The guy goes, listen, if you give me like $125 and get me a half gram of coke, I'm going to fucking teach you some shit. And I go, all right. I gave him $125. I gave him a half gram of coke. He scheduled it. The ticket was like for the following month, maybe. Mm-hmm. He scheduled for like 3 months. Right off the bat, he's like, you're not going to court like to November. I'm like, it's fucking July. He's like,
pushing that shit back?
Yeah, he pushed it back. And he had it for 9:30 on a Wednesday morning. Mm-hmm. But he told me to show up to the court at 10 o'clock. He goes, I don't want you in the court before 9:30. I want them to set a bail. I want them to set a
bench warrant
out for you. And I'm going to walk you in there at 10:05. He goes, you got like 2.5 hours before it gets to the bookkeeper. This guy was a bad motherfucker. And the cop went. Cop got up, left.
You weren't there.
Cop left.
Psyched his ass out.
They threw it out of court
hysterical.
because the cop wasn't there. Little things like that. So for $175, if I didn't have that $175, I would have got points. $600.
Was he even a lawyer, or was he just like your buddy?
Imagine he does that shit 10 times in one day.
We're going in like fucking Marines. You understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.